thing that we are going to talk about is flotation in water. Now, since we are talking about insoluble substances, now those substances which do not dissolve completely in water, two things can happen to them. Either they settle at the bottom or they remain on the surface. So if they remain on the surface, we say that the object is floating. So think of a paper boat on water. So when you put a paper boat on running water, what happens? The boat always remains on the surface of the water and it keeps moving with the water. So we say that the boat is floating. Whereas if you throw a stone into water, what happens? It doesn't float with the water. It goes inside. So it basically sinks. So the insoluble substances, we saw that either they settle at the bottom, that is they sink, or they remain on the surface, that is they float. So again, some substances float in water, whereas some other substances sink in water. Now let's look at the objects which float in water. So some of the common examples are the mustard oil. You think of wood. So both solids and liquids can float on water. So if you take a plank of wood, you put it into the river, it doesn't sink, it doesn't go into the bottom of the river, it remains on the surface and it keeps floating. You think of balloons. So if you put balloons, in fact the balls also, which you generally find near the sea beach areas, so these kind of balloons, they also float on the surface of water. A lot of plastic toys, they also made up of rubber. So the rubber toys, they also tend to float on water. The feather being very light, it also floats on water. So these are some examples of objects which float on water. On the other hand, there are objects which sink. The best example would be coins made up of metals. You think of marbles, they also sink in water. Think of stones or pebbles, they sink in water. You think of any metal objects, most of the metal objects, they sink in water, like a metal key or a metal nail. So all these tend to sink in water. Now, a question that might bother you is why some objects float while others sink? What is the reason behind floating or sinking? So the main reason behind is density. Now, what is density? So density is nothing but mass per unit volume of any object. Now I hope all of you know mass. What is mass? Okay, so and volume. So density is mass per unit volume. So all those objects whose density, if density of the object is less than the density of water, then the object would float. So if density of object is less than density of water, then the object would float. And if the density of object is more than the density of water, then the object will sink. So basically the object with lower density will remain on the top. So here you take example of the iron nail. So when you think of the iron nail, its density is more. That is why it sinks. Now, when you think of the paper boat, its density is less. That's why it floats. Now, you might ask me that, okay, so you are saying that the iron nail would sink because its density is more. But what about the big ships which are made up of iron? So the ship body is also made up of iron. So how do they sail on the water? So that's because, so that's an interesting thing to know. Now the body of big boats or ship, they are also made up of iron, but the design of the ship is done in such a way that the overall density of the ship is less than the density of water. So how can the design control the density? Because the design can control the area and volume of the ship. So by controlling the area and volume, you can actually manipulate the density. And that's how that is why you would have seen that shape or boats, they have a specific shape, and that's how they are able to travel through water. So that the density is the main concept behind flotation of objects. So that is why some objects float while other objects sink. Thank you. please visit W. Have reached towards the end of this lesson. So we saw that there are various properties that a material can have. A material can be transparent, a material can float in water, a material can be soluble in water, the material can also be insoluble in oil, a material can be hard, a material can produce sound. So there are various properties that a material has. Now, depending on what kind of properties a material has, we group them into different categories. So that's what we have learned here, and now we will look at some of the questions where we will see how exactly we group materials into different categories based on their properties. So question number 1, name 5 objects which can be made from wood. A lot of things in your house are made up of wood. In fact, most of the furnitures, whether you talk about bed, you talk about table, chairs, doors, or almirah or cupboards, they are all made up of wood. So wood can be a constituent for all of these. Now, why do you think wood can be used to make these furnitures? So one thing is because wood is opaque, because you do not want your door to be transparent so that people from outside can see everything that is present inside your house, right? So opaque is one such property of wood because of which you would like wood to be used to make furniture. Secondly, wood is hard, it is not very soft, so that will give stability to all these furniture, strength, stability, structural stability to the furniture. So that is also another important property. So looking at the properties of wood, it has been decided, and that's why it is used for making furnitures. Question number 2, select those objects from the following which shine. Glass ball, plastic toy, steel spoon, cotton shirt. So if you look at all of these, which one would you think has a shiny surface? Definitely the stainless steel spoon, because if you take it in front of you, you can actually see yourself. This surface is so shining. If you think of the glass ball, there also the surface is shiny. It is like a smooth surface. But when you talk about a cotton shirt, it doesn't have any shine as such, because cotton on its own doesn't have any shine. You think of a plastic toy again, it doesn't have any shine of its own. Question number 3. Match the objects given below with the materials from which they could be made. Remember, an object could be made from more than one material, and a given material could be used for making many more objects. So when you talk about a book can be made up of paper, yeah. Do you think a book can be made up of glass as well? No. Wood, no. Leather, no. Plastic, no. So book can be made up of paper. Think of a tumbler. A tumbler can be a glass tumbler. A tumbler can also be a plastic tumbler. So both glass and plastic can make a tumbler. You think of a chair. So a chair can be a wooden chair. Yeah, it can be a wooden chair. A chair can also be a plastic chair. Now see, how am I deciding? Looking at the basic thing behind it is their properties of these materials. So you cannot have a glass chair because glass is fragile. It will break very easily. Think of a toy. So a toy can be made up of wood. Yes, it can be made up of wood. A toy can also be made up of plastic, of course. And a toy can also be made up of a paper. For example, the paper planes, the paper boat, they are made up of paper. Think of shoes. Shoes made up of leather, yes, but glass shoes, wooden shoes, paper shoes, not really. So leather can make shoes. So that means, you see, looking at the properties of the materials, you can decide which material can make which object. State whether the statements given below are true or false. Stone is transparent while glass is opaque. Absolutely false, because glass is transparent and stone is opaque. A notebook has luster while eraser does not. This is again false, because luster is shine. A notebook doesn't have any shine. Chalk dissolves in water. That is again false, because chalk powder is insoluble in water. A piece of wood floats on water. That's true, because wood has lesser density than water, so it tends to float on water. Sugar does not dissolve in water. That's again false, because sugar is highly soluble in water. Oil mixes with water. That is again false, because oil and water never mixes completely. Oil will always remain on the top of water. Sand settles down in water. That's true, because sand doesn't mix with water. Vinegar dissolves in water. That's also true. They mix up very well, and you cannot distinguish them from each other once they are mixed. Question number 5. Given below are the names of some objects and materials: water, basketball, orange, sugar, globe, apple, and earthen pitcher. Group them as round shaped and other shapes. So we have grouped them this way. So you have been given two groups, round shaped and others. Now out of these objects which are round in shape: basketball, orange, globe, earthen pitcher, apple. So these are all more or less round in shape, whereas water and sugar are not. So they have been put under the group of others. Eatables, non-eatables, something that you can eat, that can be eaten, and non-eatables, that something that cannot be eaten. So see, water, orange, sugar, and apple, these are something which we eat. But can you eat a globe? No. Basketball? Of course not. Earthen pitcher? Again, no. So these are the non-eatables. So see, this is how we actually sort materials based on their properties. And then we separate into 2 or 3 groups, and we keep putting them into their respective group. Question number 6. Find the odd one out from the following: chair, bed, table, baby, cupboard. So if you look at it, all of these are furnitures. All of these are non-living substances except the baby. Baby is living. So baby is the odd one out. Rose, jasmine, boat, marigold, lotus. So you see, these are all flowers: rose, jasmine, marigold, lotus. So boat is the only odd one out. Aluminium, iron, copper, silver, sand. So here you see aluminium, iron, copper, silver, these are all metals. So sand is the odd one out. Sugar, salt, sand, copper sulfate. So you see, sugar is soluble in water, salt is again soluble in water, copper sulfate is also soluble in water, but sand is insoluble. So sand is the odd one out. So I hope that with these you are getting an idea about how sorting materials is important, and how sorting materials based on their properties can help us. So I think all that you can do as part of your assignment is just look around, see different objects, try to find out their properties, try to think that why a bottle is made up of plastic, try to find out that why your pen is made up of a metal. So you try to analyze things on your own, and I assure you that your understanding will be better. So with this, we will conclude this lesson, and I hope that this lesson would have helped you. See you all in the next lesson.